This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.
It's time to get educated on your Second Amendment right. It's time to get locked and loaded with 2 full hours of Gun Sports Radio. Your hosts Dave Stahl, Lance Palke, and Michael Schwartz will teach you anything and everything there is to know about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your American right to own and bear arms. Visit gunsportsradio.com with your questions and comments, or to learn how to become a sponsor and or guest of the show. Now, here's your hosts, Dave, Lance, and Michael.
All right, folks, 3 hours down, 2 more to go. Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
We got MacGyver in the house, folks. Where do they got to go to see this on?
Go to San Diego County Gun Owners Facebook page, which is facebook.com/SDCGO. And we're Facebook living this.
Right. And if you see what Michael does, and if you think you can do better, call us and we'll hire you.
For free.
Yeah, for free. Well, that's the only way we pay. Hey, folks, look for our shows at your favorite podcast platform. That's right. It's super simple. Just go to gunsportsradio.com. That's gunsportsradio.com, and there's tons of stuff to see there. Also, please remember to stick around. We do have 2 hours. This is a 2-hour show now. After 5 years, we'll stop saying that. And, oh, my, do we have a show for you today. What's a lot going on here in the gun world. And this first hour is brought to you by Firearms Legal Protection. They're the best legal protection for self-defense. Check them out at their website at firearmslegal.com. Also, California assault weapon laws make it almost impossible to own an AR platform rifle. Well, what's the solution? Cali Key. It'll convert any mil-spec direct impingement AR platform rifle into a straight pull-bolt action rifle so it can have all the features without being considered an assault weapon. It's a true drop-in solution. No milling, no aesthetic modifications, and no turning off your gas system. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford with Cali Key. Check out Cali Key at calikey.com. That's KALIKEY.com. All right. Well, gang, what's on the table?
We have a cool show coming up.
I know.
We're about to interview Antonia Okafor. Hope I got her name. I hope I got her last name right. I'm going to have to ask.
She's amazing.
She is amazing, right?
Yeah.
What have you seen of her?
I just looked at her website and page and just saw all the weapons she was weaponizing with, and I was just really impressed.
He's ready, Freddy, huh?
Wow.
She is. She's a spokesperson, national spokesperson for Gun Owners of America. She does their outreach. She's really amazing. She's big Second Amendment person. So we're gonna have her, and of course Joe's gonna give his blog talk, and then we have all kinds of cool interviews.
Sam the Gunman,
who's been working his tail off, selling guns in the beautiful state of Virginia. So what do you got? Is everybody holding up?
We're all
I'm doing fine.
We're all COVIDed, right?
Yeah,
we're COVIDed. I got my mask from High Seas Trading Company. They made some shirt masks that match my car shirt. So I've come to the conclusion that when I'm out I feel really good about wearing a mask now when I go to the grocery store or if I go out in public, where before I kind of wasn't wearing them, but now that I've got them, and by the way, thanks Laura for getting me a mask.
Put the mask and the glasses on, Dave.
Oh, you want me to put the Oh, that's right. Yeah, what did I do? I put them all away. Well, I'll grab to it. I will get to them here in a second.
All right.
But no, I mean,
I don't think I've ever touched my face so much as when.
Isn't it the weirdest thing? I mean, my gosh, and you catch yourself doing it. It's like, whoa. So
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's interesting, and it's probably because I shouldn't be on Facebook, but the different responses people are to this coronavirus. Some people can't deal with it. Some people are just literally coming apart at the seams. Hell, I cleaned out my office the other day. I found a photograph of one of my racer, and she was 6 years old. She's 23 today. I haven't seen that picture since.
Well, I thought it was really interesting up in Coronado. People are freaking out. They closed the beach and said, look, you can't sit there on a towel and enjoy.
Did he finally close the beach? Because he had it open there for a while.
So it's always been closed, except for people who are running or walking, whatever. Just like a sidewalk, just like a hiking trail, just like a road, you know. And people were freaking out. The Union Tribune freaked out. Everybody just about fell apart, and they said, okay, fine, you can't even walk. You can't even jog on it anymore. Get off the beach. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. People.
Did you see the guy at PB that was surfing? So the police went out on the beach and yelled at him, told him to come in. And then they grabbed him. Both had him on each arm.
Yeah, it's been viral.
Well, isn't that?
Yeah. I don't think that was PB though. That was up in L.A.
But where's the 6 foot? Where's that 6 foot?
Well, there was a paddleboarder in Malibu that
maybe that's what it was.
That was ignoring. I guess the lifeguards were trying to flag him down. They ignored them, so they said, "Well, we got a boat," and they came out. But again, the hysteria. It's crazy. Granted, the guy was, I guess, not supposed to be out there. But, I mean, he wasn't endangering himself. He wasn't endangering anybody else. He's out in the middle of nothing. The only people that got endangered was when they decided they had to go grab him. And now all of them are endangering each other.
And if you don't think that ocean can't kill coronavirus, you're out of your mind. There's enough garbage in that ocean. It could kill the plague.
Well, I think we all agree that a horribly contagious disease that can cause pneumonia is something to be aware of. And it's something to, but if you have a guy sitting out in the middle of 1 billion gallons of salt water, and he's in no danger to himself, he's not endangering others until, like you said, Joe, 2 cops are now, touching him. And then they throw him in a holding cell, which is probably one of the most filthy,
I wouldn't know.
People are going a little crazy.
But then again, and this whole, and I'm okay with the, canceling large gatherings and doing that stuff. I think that stuff's fine.
That makes sense. But
I mean, a little sense here. We've lost the common sense part. I mean, if you go out and look, because I'm in the kayak all the time. If you go out on a Saturday in July when it's as crowded as it could possibly be, you're not going to find paddle boarders or kayakers within 6 feet of each other.
Banging into each other.
Yeah, I mean, surfers, they just don't do that. And
well, my favorite part of this is I was watching this friend on Facebook, and they will remain nameless. They are a passionate anti-vaccination person. And listen, I don't have an opinion on vaccinating anything. I don't have kids. I'm not a scientist, so don't come at me, folks. But she's a passionate anti-vaccination person, and she was also passionate about the idea of these cops pulling this guy out of the ocean and throwing him in jail. And I'm like, wait a minute. How do you reconcile that?
The vaccine thing is a good question, because I was going to bring that up anyway if we were talking about that today, because eventually they'll come up with a vaccine for this. And do they make the vaccine mandatory? And if they do you do it? Because I'm thinking about that because, like, for instance, I'm lucky. I rarely would I get the flu or anything like that. It's probably been decades. Not saying I won't be sick next week.
I know, there you go.
But I mean, I normally don't. So I don't get a flu shot because I feel like I'm fortunate. I don't want to take something that's going to mess with that and make it worse. So, do I take that if they come up with a vaccine, especially if they whip one out here in the next month or two that I know they rushed through? Do you take something like that, to avoid, again, remember, 80% of the people that get this are going to be just fine. Yeah. The other 20% will be miserable for a week or two, and most of them are going to be okay, too.
Well, I think it's your choice. I don't think you get thrown in jail.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it's your choice. Because, again, pneumonia is horrible. Listen, I've had pneumonia twice in my life. I just had it a year ago. And, considering
nothing to fool with.
I haven't run a marathon in many years. I mean, a guy like me should not be getting pneumonia. So it is serious. But when people get so freaked out that they're overreacting and
scaring a lot of people.
Yeah, and begging for their, hey, please take my rights and freedom,
Yeah, I know.
Well, see, that's the other discussion I hope people have after all, and I'm not optimistic because people tend to forget
what you wish for.
Well, because look how easily your rights were just taken away, and not just the Second Amendment thing, all of them. Just because of this. I'm not going to say alleged crisis. I said it. Yeah. But look how quickly that happened, and I don't remember giving these people that kind of power and permission. Apparently, we did.
Right.
To just do that. And these are people that make bad decisions normally, and now during a crisis, they're making worse decisions and we're blindly following. Yeah, okay, we'll do it, whatever. Tell us what to do.
Well, we're all wearing masks now.
Almost all of us,
Almost all of us.
I'm wearing one.
Well, no, and because you're a little bit more susceptible, you've had pneumonia twice.
And that's exactly right.
Get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the logic behind it. But on the same token, you can't let the virus destroy the country.
Yeah. I had pneumonia when I was 14 years old. I missed the last 6 weeks of 8th grade.
Wow.
And it wiped me out. And I was a super healthy 14-year-old. I was a runner. I was a weightlifter. I was involved in sports. I was a superstar. And
right.
It wiped me out, and ever since, I clear my throat all the time, and that started when I got pneumonia at 14. And ever since, you'll probably, for those who've been around me, I'm constantly, and that started when I was 14 after pneumonia.
But see, so that's a great example, though, because you're susceptible to that stuff, and you want to take precautions for that, and that makes perfect sense.
Brendan just put his mask on. See what you did.
I'm going to go in and give Brendan a big smooch after the show.
He's got an N95. KCBQ hooked him up with an N95, so good. He's got the real deal. But all of a sudden, I look in there, and he's putting his mask on.
But you know what? Listen, I don't want to make it sound like we're discouraging anybody from doing it. I mean, be safe. This is your time to be a hero right now. Go help people.
Right.
Be reasonable, be sensible, but there is a debate to be had.
And it's not always about you. It's also about you protecting other people. So you may not know or think you have it. So wear a mask when you go out. At least protect yourself. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got another great guest lined up right here on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, what's the best defense for self-defense in those horrible new red flag laws? Firearms legal protection. Mike, Lance, Joe, and I use them. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for the firearms owner. Talk to the good folks at Firearms Legal Protection today. That's Firearms Legal Protection at firearmslegal.com, or you can call them at 469-310-9100. That's 469-310-9100. Gun owners, be ready with a lawyer in your corner. Hey, if the refi bell has been ringing like crazy, so home mortgage interest rates have dropped to the bottom almost. And if you're looking to buy, refi, or maybe considering a reverse mortgage, give our guy a call, our local mortgage guy, Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage for nearly 25 years. Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all these mortgage needs. Call Chris Wiley, 619-722-1303 at primeres.com/Alpine. So, who you got for a special guest this hour?
Awesome special guest. We have Antonia Okafor, who is the Director of Outreach and National Spokesperson for the Gun Owners of America. She's been published by the New York Times, NBC Universal. You may have seen her on Fox News, Austin American Statesman, or maybe read her on The Hill. She appears regularly on CNN and Fox News and BBC, Al Jazeera, One American Network. She was also a key figure in the Me Too movement, and the national debate on Second Amendment is probably what she's known best for, among other issues. Antonia, thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
You bet. So let's get right into it. Where does the Me Too movement intersect with the Second Amendment community?
Oh, man. Yeah, well, essentially it's kind of changing the narrative from the Me Too movement, which was heavily, very much, let's just say, the typical modern feminism idea of what a woman should be, an empowered woman should be, and making it a not me movement of empowering women to, take safety into their own hands and encourage women to become gun owners and to protect themselves and not have to wait on other people. And so that's really the dynamic that I wanted to shift when I got into this whole space, is trying to empower women and trying to make sure that they had a voice or had an ability, the capability, because they do, to be able to protect themselves before they get in a situation where it is a Me Too scenario.
Sure. So of all the issues, the Second Amendment it appears to be, maybe it's just what I know you best for. I know you've talked on a lot of different issues, And I always appreciate listening to the things you say and the way you deliver your message and the message that you deliver. But the Second Amendment comes up a lot. I mean, you're the Director of Outreach for Gun Owners of America. Why the Second Amendment? What brought you to the Second Amendment as a main issue for you?
Yeah, well, it's actually going back kind of into that whole, what I just talked about. So I grew up in Texas, but definitely not the typical Texan. I did not grow up with firearms. My parents are Nigerian immigrants, so the Second Amendment is, I like to make this joke, foreign to them. So it was, I know, you guys can give me that for later. And so essentially, I was a Democrat. I think most of the people in this world are essentially don't really know what they stand on. And I kind of just went through with the Democratic Party of being anti-gun just because I was told to, until I went to college, where I actually got really involved in the feminist movement, and kind of really got dissatisfied with this quote unquote solutions that a lot of modern feminism was espousing. And I wanted to, lo and behold, prevent things like rape culture, campus sexual assault, et cetera. And I wanted to empower women. I wanted to empower myself. I'm a sexual assault survivor. And so it was just through that process of realizing, well, if I really want to empower myself, then I need to be able to have the ability to have an equalizer if I need to, on campus or off campus. And that just got me into the concealed carry movement on college campuses. And I just was exposed to a lot of the lies that I've been believing for so many years that were actually really anti-empowerment. So that's what got me into the movement, was essentially wanting to empower myself and empower other women.
I love so much what you're saying. I don't know how much you know about San Diego and what's gone on with concealed carry, but San Diego County Gun Owners is the organization I work for. We're a political organization. And our biggest victory, you basically couldn't get a CCW in San Diego up until about 2.5-3 years ago. Could not get one. And we did a bunch of activism, and you can now get a CCW. And about a year ago, basically in San Diego, I mean, if you follow the process, you're getting a CCW as long as you pass the background check and the training. About a year and a half ago, we launched a program called Not Me SD. And it's a program where we pair up women volunteers who've been trained with women who reach out to us, and we will help them get a firearm, we will help them get the training they need, and we'll help them get a CCW or any one of those or two of those three that they want. And we had a press conference a year ago. It was actually a year ago, I think yesterday. And we've had almost 200 women go through the program. We weren't sure what to expect. A dozen, 20 would have been success. But we were quickly inundated with it, and I was very happy to see that. I mean, in a way, it was kind of worrisome, but I was very happy to see that, and it's a message that you've been giving for years, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. But we're very, very proud of that. So, concealed carry's changed significantly in San Diego. I'm not sure if that's something you heard or are aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've definitely heard of your work and what you guys have been doing over there, and it's amazing. And I probably, people will expect when I go to California or even New York or New Jersey that, that's where, I think I probably get the most enthusiastic 2A people in those areas.
There you go.
Yes, come over here, come help us. So it kind of gives me actually hope when I go over there and go to the places and then go back to like places that are supposed to be pro-gun. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys need to do better.
Yeah, pull it together. San Diego's working hard. What's going on with everybody else? So,
right, exactly. No excuses. Thank you for that.
You bet. Thank you. What's your best message to gun owners right now?
Oh, man, I think it comes back to, what I've been seeing a lot of. I was listening to you guys a little bit about, COVID-19 and how people are just like, look, just take my rights away. That's a lot of what I'm seeing. But on the gun side, I'm also seeing some hope. I'm sure you guys have talked about the fact that, March gun sales were over 2 million.
Yeah.
I'm here in Colorado right now, which is in the Denver area, so it's definitely not pro-gun in the least. But I even had my brother, texting me a couple weeks ago when this whole thing kind of started and just saying, look, I think I need to invest in a firearm. I mean, this is my Democrat brother here. Like, no way is he changing. And he was just like, you know what? I think all that's happening right now, this chaos, I'm probably going to have to, I don't know, take safety into my own hands, maybe. I don't know. So he's on the gun train now. So he's getting his gun. Unfortunately, though, I had to tell him that there are all these gun laws, all these gun control laws that were impeding upon his ability to get a firearm. So it's been really good to see so many people who are new gun owners get involved. I think the next thing is that we're going to have to reach out to them and say, hey, welcome, but also, get them in training, get them involved, and also realizing that it's just not a right that just is turned on and turned off during a crisis. It's something that we have to preserve and protect. And unfortunately, the government's not always trying to do that for us. So I think it's been really eye-opening for a lot of people.
So what do you tell, even like in normal times, before COVID-19 or after COVID-19, what do you think the best message is for non-gun owners? And I don't necessarily mean anti-gun folks, but the majority of the country that are probably on the fence and don't really have much experience. What's your best message to them?
Ooh, man. For non-gun owners, well, sometimes non-gun owners are also the ones who are pro-liberty. They decide not to have a gun, and that's totally fine. I think that's the message that everyone should remember, is that we're not forcing anyone. You have to have a gun in order, to be accepted or whatever. You meant to be pro-liberty. It's, you have to like just in every other situation, is that you are not impeding on someone else's right to have that choice, being pro-choice, or even the feminist movement, right? That you have a choice if you so want to get to that point of having a firearm. So I think that's what it is that it all goes together. The common denominator here is liberty. And if you don't understand that, then you don't understand why an individual has these rights that are inalienable and given to us by God and should be protected by government, just because that's the role of government. And I think if you have that really strong foundation, then you're going to understand the gun issue. You're going to understand so many other liberty issues as well.
So you're extremely influential. You're very well spoken. Like I said, I really enjoy listening to you when you in interviews and give a message. Looking at the gun community, one part of us, meaning gun owners, are, I think, way too aggressive with the "Don't Tread on Me" shirts and the armed marches. And the other part of us is probably a little too soft and kind of goes with this, guns are a fun hobby. Let's just make pink and blue guns so girls like them, And we know that the majority of gun owners, we know there's this enormous middle ground. How do we get them involved, and why is that important? Or, what do we do to get those kind of folks involved so there aren't these, huge, differences between the extremes?
Yeah, I think that's why I love, being the director of outreach for Gun Owners of America, is that not too long ago, like I said, I was one of those people, probably like in the middle. I didn't really have one way or the other that I really felt until it actually impacted me personally. And so when someone gave me that connection, I still remember when someone finally gave me that aha moment of turning the narrative of seeing a gun as only with somebody who was a bad guy behind that firearm, and then seeing me, knowing that I can trust myself, but behind that firearm and using it for protection, that just completely changed everything. And so I think just even small things like that, I think we forget, and I try not to, get so far removed from being in that space to remember that, it might seem so trivial and elementary to us, but even little things like that, probably a lot of people have never heard of it. No one has just really connected it. And so I just think it's important that we continue to, again, outreach, go out to people who might be anti-gun, who might be probably on the most part on the fence, and don't really have formed an opinion yet, and, talk to them and be a natural, civil human being. I mean, I think that's, great for a lot of people and a lot of issues. So I think that's what a part of it is, just we need to not make so much of a fuss of how we do it. We just need to do it, because the people who show up first are the ones who are going to really impact those people. Beautifully put. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on. What do you want people to check you out on Gun Owners of America, or where can people find more about you, or where would you like to direct people? Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, I want people to become members of GOA. So go to gunowners.org and become a member. We're still in this fight. A lot of things are happening right now, particularly right now. But then also, you can follow me on AntoniaOkafor.com. I just got married. I guess I got married, but like a year ago almost. Congratulations. Also, you can follow me on, thank you. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Antonia_Okafor.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate everything you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
All right, folks. Welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, folks. Have you been to A.O. Swart Firearms in El Cajon? Well, they've got the widest selection of guns in San Diego County with over 600 unique guns in stock, including hundreds of used guns. Go see their full-service experienced gunsmith. They can do everything from mild repairs to full custom firearms. A.O. Swart Firearms Store located at 929 East Main Street in the city of El Cajon. Go to their website at aoswart.com or give them a call at 619-749-4867. They'll buy or repair. A.O. Swart Firearms is your go-to place for all things firearms. That's aoswart.com. Call them 619-749-4867. By the way, this segment is brought to you by Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance, LLP, your number one gun lawyer, John Dillon. Go to cafirearmslaw.com or you can call him direct, 760-431-9501. All right. We got John on the line.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good. Surviving.
Yeah, I bet those kids are sort of keeping you on your toes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a new experience practicing law from home.
Is that something you recommend?
No. Not with little kids around.
I couldn't help myself.
I didn't think you had any jurisdiction at home.
Yeah, no, it's tough. You know, it definitely is making you extend the reach. But, yeah, nevertheless, been pretty busy in the last 2 weeks during this quarantine, and because of this COVID-19 stuff, unfortunately, people have taken advantage of the this whole virus and the quarantine, and they're trying to completely stop the Second Amendment and prevent people from exercising the right to acquire a firearm and defend themselves. This is a time where I think it's pretty clear that people are a little worried, and they just want to make sure that if that day comes where they have to protect themselves or their family, that they're going to be able to do so. And it's not a paranoid opinion. It's just I want to be able to protect myself if I ever need to. And they unfortunately, places such as City of LA, County of LA, we went through a wonderful back and forth with Sheriff Villanueva. I think he switched his opinion 4 times in a week's time period of declaring gun shops essential, and then the next day declaring them non-essential, then the next day declaring them essential again. And so it's been tough. We got a lot of people trying to prevent that.
We should give him an award at our dinner, like Flip-Flopper of the Year or something like that. I wonder if he'd show up for that. Probably not.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've never seen anything like that, and it just shows how poorly, the executive order that was put in place by, our governor, and just the orders that are put in place by the county public health departments all over California. They're incredibly vague. They don't tell anyone, really what is essential and what's not. I just found out the local drive-through car wash is considered essential, but according to certain rulers across California, your Second Amendment right to defend yourself is not considered something essential, and they're trying to shut down these gun shops. So it's just it's bad. The fact that our governor just kind of sat back and said, well, I'll just defer to whatever the county sheriffs decide. That's a horrible decision to do something like that, because now you have just this smorgasbord of enforcement throughout the state. Some counties, like in San Diego, our sheriff Gore, he declared them essential businesses and said they can keep operating. But then you have, city of LA County, basically all of Northern California, declaring them non-essential. And then, you could drive through California and depending on where you are, the Second Amendment either is or is non-existent. It's terrible, and we're literally depriving people of their Second Amendment rights.
Well, John, something we were talking about at the beginning of the show, too, about how easily our rights, not just Second Amendment, but a lot of them were just suspended under the guise of this emergency. And another thing I think we have to be really careful of, and this is something we saw after 9/11, is these suspensions here, these changes that are supposed to be temporary because of the emergency, have a habit of sticking around and becoming permanent. So I think that's a real concern.
Yeah, there's a huge danger in the fact that, so these counties and that are declaring Second Amendment non-essential and gun shops non-essential. Well, for right now, we're all mandated to stay at home for an indefinite period of time. So quite literally, they're making the case that gun shops are closed down indefinitely. I mean, that should scare people, the fact that they can just by, executive fiat, just declare, nope, no longer can you, exercise your Second Amendment rights. It's an absurd theory, and it's somewhat shocking to see it being enforced right now. And, because of that, we're bringing lawsuits. Everyone's on notice. If you're going to try to shut down the Second Amendment, you're going to be sued.
John, have you heard, there was a big fear a couple weeks ago about the DOJ just shutting down the DROS system or making it impossible for people to pick up guns, just basically, harassing gun shops by not letting them operate.
Closing it down from the back end.
Yeah, and Senator Jones said that, no, DOJ has no plans to do that. Have you heard any complaints from gun shops at all in the last couple of weeks that DROS has been a problem?
I've heard nothing confirmed. There's been, some discussion, one-off shops that have had trouble with the DROS system. I have not heard anything beyond a single shop, and I'm not going to name any names or do anything like that. But so far, I haven't seen anything or heard about anything widespread. I haven't gotten reports of anything like that. But again, like you said, the DOJ, they've surprisingly just kind of stayed out of this in a way. They haven't tried to do a backdoor shutdown by closing down the DROS system. And, we saw how the governor decided to defer whether or not the decision-making authority to sheriffs and local chief law enforcement. So it's a mess. It truly is. We now have different laws for, whatever county you're in. Whether or not you have the Second Amendment depends on what county you live in now.
Like you didn't have enough to do.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, some people, this may be a vacation. I feel like I've worked more during this time from home than I've worked.
Hey, can we bring up one other thing? Surprisingly, there's been this. You and I had a brief conversation about it yesterday, John. But there's this penal code that says, in effect, that you can't wear a mask if you're carrying a gun unless you're law enforcement. I just paraphrased it.
What?
Yeah. So go look it up. I just paraphrased. That's not exactly what it says. But there's a piece of that penal code that it doesn't exempt CCW holders. It only exempts law enforcement and hunters, I believe. But it says that you can't wear a mask in order to conceal your identity. And that's not what we're doing when we're wearing a mask for health purposes. So, John, do you agree with that assessment that, yes, a CCW holder can wear a medical mask during COVID-19 and carry legally?
Yeah, I mean, I can't give the legal opinion straight up, but as a person with the CCW that's complying with public health orders to wear masks when in public and wear gloves and limit contact, I would have to say, you're not wearing a mask to conceal identity. It's not like you're wearing a ski mask to go rob, 7-Eleven. You're literally complying with health orders, and you just happen to also have a CCW, but, make sure you have your ID, make sure you have your permit, it's, up to date.
Make sure you're not robbing a bank.
Don't rob anyone, and it, truly, I can see it being, something that has the possibility of, abuse if, they get the wrong officer just wanting to enforce, a very unknown penal code section for the most part. I haven't heard of anyone running into any problems with it.
Well, but what about that nervous 7-Eleven owner? All of a sudden, somebody comes walking in, they got a mask. And let's say it's not a surgical mask. I mean, because they've said bandanas are fine as long as you have some kind of facial.
Like Lance is wearing.
And if you could see Lance right here and now, you would automatically just give him your wallet.
Am I profiling?
No, I just give you my wallet. I almost gave it to you twice.
Good. Give me your wallet.
And your horse.
Yeah, that you rode in on.
It's something
and your dachshund.
We definitely would, it'd be nice to have an official opinion by our local sheriff, and if they can, get at least some information disseminated to clarify that. Just because it's not like the CCWs are looking to break the law. We just want to lawfully carry our firearms and also not get sick. And so it's I think you're complying with, at least the spirit of the law, and you're in wearing a protective mask to, limit the spread of a viral pandemic. And it's not a mask in order to conceal your identity.
Hey, John, are the courts generally available right now, in the middle of all this stuff for groups that are, challenging some of these rulings and these things that are going on?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a little more remote. Hearings are being held via teleconference or just through conference calls. But they're still operating. It's just a little different than what everyone, is used to. And those memes that you see on Instagram showing the lawyers in their shirt and tie and their suit, but then they pull away and they're in their boxers and sandals because they're doing a teleconference at home.
Right.
Probably not. It's probably pretty accurate, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, welcome to television. But somebody asked me that the other day, so I'm glad I have you online. I think the small claims court is shut down because that's not essential.
I haven't reviewed that, but that's a possibility.
Well, a friend of mine went and they said it was closed.
There you go.
Till further notice.
It's definitely different. I mean, just like with most everything right now, you go outside, you go walk around, things are different. They're weird. People are wearing masks, people are wearing gloves. Not a lot of people. I mean, it's really nice for traffic. There's not a lot of traffic anymore. But
isn't that wonderful? You can sell your Tesla.
Yeah. But they just shut down the beach in Oceanside. I heard that, and it's just a crazy thought. Like you can't go to the beach in California.
Hey, they shut down the beach in Alpine. I was totally depressed. All right, buddy. Hey, thank you very much. Go play with the kids. Take your mind off that law stuff.
Oh, good one, guys.
All right, buddy. Hey, folks, that is Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance, LLP. You can still get a hold of him. Get on the internet, and that man will definitely take care of you like family. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
All right, folks, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
By the way, folks, due to the technical wizardry of Brandon, if you go to San Diego County Gun Owners on their Facebook page, you can see us live. You can hear us live in the comfort of your home. So just want to throw that out there. So jump to Facebook, and you can see who's talking. Hey, what's the best defense for self-defense in those horrible new red flag laws? That would be firearms legal protection. Like Lance, Joe, and I use them. Firearms legal protection is the legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for the firearms owner. Talk to the good folks at Firearms Legal Protection today. That's Firearms Legal Protection at firearmslegal.com, or call us at 469-310-9100. That's 469-310-9100. Firearmslegal.com. Gun owners, be ready with a lawyer in your corner. This segment is brought to you by the good folks at The Gun Range San Diego. 7853 Balboa Avenue in San Diego. Open 10 to 10, 7 days a week, 858-573-1911. Best thing to do, go to The Gun Range San Diego. That's thegunrangesandiego.com. All right, our gun expert is on the line. That would be Jason. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how's it going, Dave? How you going?
No, not too bad at all. Not too bad. We're doing Facebook Live now, so everybody in the world can hear you.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
So what do you got for us today,
well,
my
hello,
friend?
everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we're still keeping busy. You know, we got lots of guns out. We kind of missing a lot of guns. I'm kind of missing seeing some guns on these shelves. I'd really like to get some more.
Yeah, your shelves looks a little bare, what I was seeing on Facebook.
Yeah, just about everywhere. It's kind of running out of guns. I mean, we got the whole virus thing going on. So that means all the consumers are buying all the guns, and that's not a bad thing.
Jason, are you still seeing the same level of business you've been seeing the last couple of weeks with all this?
It's starting to slow down, but only because we're kind of running out of guns to sell. Mm-hmm. We still got some stuff coming in. It's just kind of a slow trickle. A lot of our guns are gone. We got the distributors are out of the guns, and the manufacturers can't make as many of the guns because they got to stay home. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Kind of like the car manufacturers.
Well, plus also you can only sell roster guns.
Yeah, which really limits. You can
only sell roster guns.
Yeah.
That's right. It kind of does severely limit what we've got. We actually do have a lot more guns in the back. They're just all, they're law enforcement only guns. So I can't sell them.
Now, and when you guys are getting a new shipment in, you post on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Right. We do. Yeah, absolutely, we do. We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to grab a gun while they can. Mm-hmm. We're also rationing our ammo just to make sure that everybody's able to get something when they do pick up their gun.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you were listening to the last segment with John Dillon, but we brought up the fact of people are buying a gun, they wait their 10 days. Uh-huh. But I understand is the DROS slowing down? Are they backlogged? Is there a problem for folks picking up their guns?
So right now, yes, there is. Everywhere there's a problem right now. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people at this moment trying to pick up their guns, trying to do all this stuff. Their server is only designed for a certain number of, a certain amount of activity, and it's completely unprecedented. It's never seen this much input, this much activity before. Sure. So it's having a real problem processing all this stuff. We also can't call the DOJ to ask any questions about it because the lines have been shut off. So it's it's definitely insane. A frustrating situation. It's a very frustrating situation.
So when somebody comes and picks up, when someone comes to pick up their gun, you got to go through DROS, make sure that everything's passed. They've gone through their 10-day wait period. You get an authorization. And you're saying that because the server is so inundated because of all the business that's been happening, what happens? It's you just can't get a clearance, or what exactly is happening?
Well, what normally happens is that you jump onto the person's, they're kind of like their background check profile, and it tells you right off the bat, big button, it'll say pending if it's not done yet, or it says approved if it's past the 10 days with no problem whatsoever. I've got a lot of people that are passed, by since yesterday, and it still says pending. I can't contact anybody to ask about it. It's just kind of that's just what's going on right now. Also, my buddy at the other store I used to work at, same thing. This is happening everywhere.
But is this for everybody, or is this just 1 in 10 customers or 1 in 2 customers, or?
It's it's more of like a 1 out of every 5 or 6.
Okay.
So I'm not saying don't try to pick up your gun.
Right.
But I am saying just, for anybody listening that did buy a gun from us or from anywhere, just kind of expect that you might face the possibility of not being able to pick your gun up right when you can.
Be patient.
I would just say, just be patient. We don't want to flood, more activity. We don't want to flood that place with more activity. What you want to do is probably just give your store a call and just ask if they're able to deliver guns.
Or I'm sure the other way around, you would be more than happy to call that customer and say, hey, you're clear. Come get your gun, because you want to get that thing out of your inventory just as bad as the consumer wants to buy it.
I definitely do, but I got maybe 500 or 600 people to call.
You're not doing nothing. Just get out on that phone and start calling.
So right now, today, there are about 500 or 600 people that have made it through their 10-day wait period and are waiting to pick up their gun?
By my estimate, something like that.
Wow. This is just one shop.
Yeah.
This is a shop, yeah.
Wow.
So do I put my conspiracy hat on and say this is intentional? Do I say, like you said, is it possible that it's an overload?
At least it's irresponsible on the part of the DRO system in California.
Well, I'm sure their computer systems are older than dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, go to DMV.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put on your tinfoil hat just yet, but I would say that it is awfully inconvenient. It's definitely a fault on their part. It's their responsibility to make sure that we're able to get what we need for our rights. It's definitely on them right now.
Yeah, gotcha. And I'm sure they're feeling the heat. I'm sure they're feeling the heat.
But they don't care.
Oh, yeah.
No, they may not.
They don't care.
But don't you think there's some politicians that are putting some pressure on that are gun
I don't think that the DOJ cares at all. I mean, I think they're maxed out. They've got a certain budget and they got a certain attitude. Right. They're just going to keep plodding along, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Yep. So, from what I understand, it's a lot like the DMV. They just kind of do their job and they kind of just don't care. You know what I mean?
But you're telling
like
people not to be defeated. Just continue on.
Exactly.
And if you still want to go buy a gun, go get in line. Just remember you're probably not going to get it in 10 days. Or are some of them going right through, or all of them being bottlenecked?
Oh no, some people are absolutely able to pick up their guns. There's just no way for us to know without physically checking, and we can't do that without the person there. We can't tell. It's not legal for us to. We can't tell anybody over the phone. They have to be in front of us, ready to pick up the gun for us to go through with that. And that's kind of that's the problem here.
It's another hurdle.
Well, that's what you said. 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 people you're having difficulties. It's not across the board.
They're able to.
Yeah.
Well, that are the other way around. That are able to pick up their gun.
Oh, really?
1 in 5 or 6 people are able to actually pick up.
Oh my gosh, that's a much bigger number than.
Yeah, it's like 85% of people are not able to pick up.
See, that's what that's how I read it.
Holy cow!
And we absolutely say, hey, hang out for a while if you want to just wait it out. I actually had that work on a couple people. They waited 5-10 minutes and just happened to work out. I had another guy wait for a couple hours and still nothing, so he decided to come back tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But he's real nice about it.
Well, they understand it's not the gun owners or the gun shop's fault. It's our lovely government.
Believe me, the first thing I want to do is get people their guns. We need the space, from a practical standpoint. Sure. We need the space. We got to move the stuff out. And, of course, I want to make sure people get what they paid for.
Absolutely. You're not a warehouse.
Well, they're buying it to be safe.
All right, buddy. Hey, You're getting as bad as Dillon. Nothing but bad news. But that's okay. We still love you, brother. All right, Gun Range San Diego, folks. Go down and get in line. Jason will help you out. He'll be upfront, straightforward, and honest with you. And if there's anything he can do to help you, he will. Because just like Nordstrom's, they're all about customer service. The Gun Range San Diego. We're going to take a quick break on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.